What's up, Seal Nation? We are here for the new year 2026. I had a nice break, end of the year break. Now we're back into it with our content. We're looking forward to this year in film. Some very interesting films coming out throughout the year of 2026. And I'm going to be covering this across all my platforms with the box office battle and everything. You already know the year usually starts off like lower budgeted type films, different, kind of like horror genre and things like that. Really heats up when we get close to the end of spring and summer. And then, man, in July, 2026 is going to be pretty hot. It's going to really hit a peak with the Odyssey and the new Spider-Man film. And then obviously it's going to be another peak by the end of the year with the new Avengers film. So there's going to be plenty to discuss, again, across all my platforms. At times I introduce new series to my platforms. We got this new series, Rumor Roulette. I've been kind of teasing that a little bit and just a little backstory as far as on what this series is about. At times we hear different rumors all the time. I hear rumors almost every other day. It could be some outlandish stuff and it could be stuff that actually hit. It used to be a time, especially with late great Mikey Sutton and Lord of the Long Box, Tim Tebow. I remember they used to always talk about, when you put your name behind a rumor or a scoop, you want it to be true because you want it to be correct and you want to take your victory lap. But what I've noticed is that a lot of rumors come out and sometimes people don't care if it's true. So we want to kind of observe. I want to observe more rumors and just kind of have fun speculating with it. And then also, too, if I hear anything, this gives me a chance to address some of these rumors. So Rumor Roulette can be a lot of Marvel. I'm hearing a lot of Marvel stuff. So a lot of stuff out there. DC, obviously, as well. You got this possible changeover. Well, Warner Bros. Is getting sold. So you're going to have more people kind of having their hands on DC. It's going to be a very interesting series where, again, we're going to talk about these different rumors. We're going to observe, is it true? What do y'all think about it? It's going to be some good conversations. And then again, like I said, if I hear anything, then they'll give me a chance to interject. And then we'll see if this stuff is holding up. So Rumor Roulette, I'm really excited for this because, like I said, it's going to be all kinds of topics. Now, as far as the series, it's going to be across all my platforms. So you got the podcast channel, which is the long form content. And longtime viewers know on my main channel, I mostly deal with DC, Snyder stuff, film stuff overall, just exciting stuff that we want to talk about. So you'll get that. And I'll be featuring the Rumor Roulette series, throughout some of my podcast episodes and some live streams as well, too. We'll be back live in 2026 over here. Also on the sylabdul Geek channel, that's a short form channel. You begin some more quicker hitting videos. I'm really having fun doing those. When I don't have time to do a long podcast, I can just hit y'all with a short form. So I'll be featuring some rumors for the Rumor Roulette on the short form channel as well. And again, that's dealing with more of my core topics, DC, Snyder, James Gunn, DCU, and maybe some popular film topics. Patreon, become a patron, links in the description, where I expand the topics a little bit more, where it's not just DC, it's not just Snyder. So if you want even more Marvel stuff or, the Star Wars or whatever, and some sprinkling in some DC stuff as well, we're still going to be doing live shows on the Patreon. It's going to be exclusive Rumor Roulette episodes just for the Patreon. So just to recap here, long form content on the sylabdul podcast channel. Become a member, YouTube members, you'll be getting exclusive videos as well. Again, the core topics that I've always discussed on the channel, DC, Snyder, James Gunn's DC. Short form channel, sylabdul Geek. Patreon, it'll be expanded topics, exclusive rumors. It's going to be exclusive content, original content on all of these platforms. And also follow me on Twitter as well. Can't wait to see everyone's reactions to some of the stuff we're going to pull up. And we'll see. We'll pick through and see what's true and what's not. And what's cap and what's hot. All right? So let's get it. Much love to Sub Nation.
It's Coffee Talk with SylabdUL. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe now.
Wake up in the morning, eyes crusty, heavy yawning. My phone keep going off, so I shut off the alarm and then head into the kitchen to get the coffee brewing. French roast with French vanilla, my own French revolution. Next movement is to tune into Coffee Talk with Syl. My girl starts a yap if I tell her she needs to chill. I hear enough of the yapping from all of these goofy shills. Plus I'm trying to be informed of whatever's the latest deal. For real.
Now, since I'm just getting back into the swing of things, the beginning of the new year, all my holiday time is done. We're back on the grind as far as working. I had some conversations that I recorded at the end of last year, talking about Netflix, SnyderVerse, James Gunn's DCU. So we're gonna run that now. And it's interesting because we had interesting Supergirl conversations and things like that. So this is stuff for about 2-3 weeks ago, and it seems to be holding up pretty well. So let's check out my latest conversations about these pertinent topics. On Netflix started this new website. It's NetflixWBTogether.com. That's the actual URL.
Okay.
Showing a lot of confidence, in this that they think they're going to close this deal, right? So I bring this up because there's a lot of chatter online. Behind that symbol there, you got the Netflix and Warner Brothers symbol, and you'll see that they have this Justice League picture with that, right? And so a lot of people was like, okay, Netflix is giving some love to Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Now, some people are debating that's from the very first trailer in 2017. I believe the Come Together trailer, where it was right before Zack left, or probably after they pushed him out, but they put a trailer with just his footage that year. So people are saying, some people are saying like, hey, or as far as Snyder fans, some are saying, hey, this is a positive sign because they put Zack Snyder's Justice League sort of front and center. And then just below it, you see the Justice League poster. You see that right under that. So I guess, like, in your opinion, does this mean something or nothing at all?
I mean, it's kind of hard to really say. I tried not to look too deeply into these things. I don't think their marketing department is like, hey, let's drum up some stuff online and have people start arguing and make this clickbaity. Well, maybe they do. I don't know. I'm not in those rooms. But they did put it right in the center where you can't really make it out as well. Maybe to trick people into thinking it was from Justice League, but then you have the poster right underneath. One thing everyone has pointed out, they have the Batman on here, which is right under that. But they don't have anything of guns, and I think that's one thing that stood out more to people.
Well, definitely, that's something some wanted to stand out. But
yeah, I mean, he has enough content where they could have fit it in here. Like, why do they have Casablanca? I think that's Casablanca twice.
Yeah.
And it's a super old movie, I guess, to represent Time Warner.
Yeah.
The K-pop, I guess that's on Netflix. I don't even know.
That's a Netflix thing. Yeah, I mean, I think this is more of, they just wanted to say, like, Netflix is kind of flexing, like, hey, we got all these IPs now. Like, you know what I'm saying? We got Casablanca, we got...
Yeah, it was probably just something that was like, let's just take the coolest, thing and plop it in here. But I think this also goes to show who do they think is the most popular representative for both brands. Because like everyone knows Casablanca, Bridgerton, like those are some of their biggest hits. Recent hits too, and then they have a lot of stuff from or throughout the times of Warner Brothers' existence, where you have Friends, you have Casablanca with the Time Warner, you have Harry Potter, which has
that's gonna be huge, and that's what, like, this is why everyone wanted Warner Brothers as far as all these bids, because you got all this these classic brands that you could milk. And so that's why I was saying, I was like, even though Netflix wasn't my pick, I was like, man, like the reach of Netflix, this content is gonna, really be pushed
From a
around the
business
world.
perspective,
Yeah.
this is amazing. But
Hmm.
again, like just the fact that they've chose all of these as you would think are the best representatives of each brand, and nothing here is from Gun. Like you would think that they would at least put Corn Sweat Superman in here somewhere, right? Like it's so fresh in everyone's minds, but it's not here at all. Or even John Cena, who's a major
Hmm.
name, a household name. Peacemaker's not in here either.
Hmm. Yeah, I just wonder the method they used here, but they highlighted some big brands, like we said. So it's just interesting to see DC. I mean, I am glad DC is represented somehow. Maybe not in the perfect way, right here, but it is some SnyderVerse right there. So interesting there, and then further. On this website, see they highlighting Barbie
Yeah,
again. Netflix is just like over the moon. They're like, man, we got
yeah.
all this, all this stuff. We are taking over. But it's a paragraph here, and I want to get your thoughts on this, where Netflix is saying it's a complementary business, with Warner Brothers, and they said the plan is to continue operating them independently, Netflix and Warner Brothers. So Warner Brothers of Pictures, New Line Cinema, WB Animation, and DC Studios. That's all included right there,
Hmm.
uh, with the teams that's currently running them. So basically, Netflix is saying again, they are the movie experts. Let them do their thing for now, at least, because I still don't think it's going to be cut and dry like this. I
Absolutely
really
not.
don't.
You don't buy an entity like this and not touch it.
Right, exactly. Like they definitely like we own this, but just to make this a smooth transition, y'all keep doing what y'all doing. Now we know DeLuca and Abdi got their extension already, so
Yep.
I do believe Netflix will be like, okay, y'all the experts. Y'all just had a record-breaking year.
Yeah, they're gonna lean on them
Yeah.
wholeheartedly, and that would be the smart thing to do. It'd be stupid not to.
And then also the theatrical animation branch, like they have a new Cat in the Hat film coming out. I don't know if
Right.
anyone saw that trailer, but they're really trying to push for awards and stuff.
Hmm.
So and then New Line Cinema, the low budget horror films. Again, they had a wonderful year, DeLuca and Abby. So you leave them alone, but DC, okay, DC, it can't be this cut and dry, because Netflix, according to what I'm hearing, Netflix wants in on producing DC stuff for streaming for Netflix. They want DC events like every year on Netflix.
Me too.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
You know what I'm saying? They own it right now. They own it.
Right.
So this paragraph sounds nice. I know like James Gunn fans out there like, oh, Gunn is safe. Gunn is separate. It's like I expect a restructuring of DC Studios.
Absolutely. A lot of people have been talking about budgeting. Like it doesn't make sense to have this whole extra team just to focus only on DC when you have to hire or pay an extra individual when you have a very competent team that has proven their competency for years. They're the ones that brought in billions for Warner Brothers this past year, which boosted the value of the company for this sale. So Zaslav, for all the crap he wanted to talk about them, trying to throw them under the bus for all the negatives that came from Warner Brothers earlier in the year, should be patting them on the back and giving them nice bonuses because they brought in all the money. And I'm sure Netflix, being the business-minded individuals that they seem to be, are going to look at that and look at every bottom line, and they're going to cut the fat. They're spending what $80+ billion on this acquisition. They're not going to throw good money against bad.
Now it's mostly cash that they're putting into this. Some like stocks as well, but still, 80 billion is a lot of money.
80 billion is 80 billion, no matter if it's cash or stock. It's coming out of something. So it's not free money.
So you gotta, again, this is a good statement Netflix puts out there, because again, they're trying to just make this a smooth transition through regulatory process and public, perceptions to the public and perceptions. So this was smart to put it out there, but like I said, with the DC side, the fact that Netflix wants to have their hands in producing DC stuff for streaming, because I do believe they can lead the theatrical stuff to Warner Brothers. I still believe that. So you probably still want like at least a creative person attached to Warner Brothers. I guess my point I'm trying to make is that this whole Safran Gunn partnership, like I don't see both of them staying. No, I just don't see that happening.
Safran was also the architect between the low profit or not even profitable Shazam movies. So why would you even, and now like his other stuff that he has working with Gunn isn't exactly working either. So why would you bring him back too? They're a package deal, it seems like.
Possibly because this is just my theory. I think when I say restructuring of DC, I think Netflix is going to have their own like DC point person exec, doing live action films as far as on streaming, series, animated. I think they're gonna go crazy on Netflix with DC. Like, that's the exciting thing, and that's where you can again do some Zack Snyder stuff on Netflix as well. And then on the theatrical side, like I said, you should just let DeLuca and Abby do it. Now, if you want to, if Gunn makes a lot of money with Man of Tomorrow, maybe they'll keep him as a creative guy or something. But I don't see him calling the shots after Netflix moves in. I guess is my theory.
Yeah, I mean that's a good theory, and I think a lot of people are also putting too much stock into this statement where they keep saying they're going to let it continue running operations as is. Well, as is, if this closes in early or mid 2027, operations as is, unless there's more contract extensions before then, that contract is going to expire. They still have to make a decision on these individuals whose contracts is going to expire. So that doesn't automatically mean they're going to be given carte blanche or even stay on at all. So we'll have to see what that looks like. So don't start counting your chickens before they hatch, because you don't know what the state of the industry is going to be in a year and a half. And
that's the key point right there, is if their contract is up, this is going to be a lame duck year.
Yeah.
If there's no further extent, and the report came out that they already got extended. Again, we talked about this last video. It was just for 6 months. Unheard. That's a very short extension, because on Zaz's side, I think, obviously he knew he was going to sell Warner Brothers, and he probably knew it was going to be something kind of restructured with DC. So you're not going to extend them beyond the sale. You know what I mean? So,
well, they extended the Luke and Abdi.
Exactly, because they want them. Yeah, they want that to be intact. They want Warner Brothers Pictures to be intact, and got the best team.
Yeah, my point is that goes to show who the confidence is in, and I'm sure. They got their extensions right after they agreed to the Netflix deal around that time. So you can't tell me they didn't consult with Netflix regarding, all right, who do you guys feel comfortable with being on the team once the acquisition, let's say they already have an ETA on when they think this acquisition is going to be finalized. So of course they're going to meet up and say, hey, who do you want to be on the team when you guys come aboard? Who do you want to lead the charge? Obviously they were like DeLuca and Abdi. Obviously they brought in billions of dollars this year. All right, what about what's happening with DC? We really like DC, but what's going on? They don't have a vote of confidence. They're like, oh, well, let's just take him through the promotional marketing side of his Man of Tomorrow, and let's wait and see how the movie does, and then we'll make a decision at that time. So it doesn't show any confidence at all in Gunn. If that movie Supergirl is not going to do well, they already know it. They're already coming out with their propaganda. Man of Tomorrow, expect a double the amount of propaganda they did with Superman, because they need people to see that, because it's literally like we're going to be smelling, the sharks are going to be smelling the blood in the water with Gunn and Safran at that point. So they need to make a major splash. Man of
Tomorrow, it's the same time I was hearing about the Supergirl stuff. Man of Tomorrow, they're just hoping it replicates what Superman did.
That's terrible.
Which I don't know if that's going to be enough right now.
No.
What I believe, this is again just my theory, what I think is going to happen here, because let's give Man of Tomorrow and say, hey, you're going to make 600 million again, right? Netflix could be like, okay, we really don't need Gunn and Safran right here, right? But maybe they like Corn Sweat. Maybe they're like, hey, we could still do stories with this Superman for the next 10 years, which I wouldn't mind that. I think Corn Sweat's a good actor. And let's say, okay, Gunn, again, maybe he can, if they want to keep him, because Zaslav does like Gunn and Safran, keep him as some kind of, again, creative exec, but it's DeLuca and Abdi really will be making the decisions for theatrical films going forward. That's kind of the more of the scenario that I see, is that, again, Netflix wants to do the streaming side and let DeLuca and Abdi do the theatrical side. And if they keep Gunn, he could be a creative voice, but I don't see Gunn, just putting out another slate of stuff after Netflix moves in. I just don't see that happening. Because unless Man of Tomorrow does $1 billion, that's the only way.
Yeah, personally, after you get a feeling for being the big dog on campus, I don't think he's gonna be.
That's a good point.
I forgot what the corporate term was. It's
kind of demoted, I guess. But
it's kind of like a demoted, but it's kind of like where they put someone over you. You can kind of keep your title in a way, but they just put someone over you.
That's a good point.
That way you keep your title and doesn't look as bad, but you were fully blank. I'm blanking on the term. But it happens all the time, and I've seen it. And usually when that happens, you're out the door. Like one mess up, and like you're getting the axe. I can see them doing something like that if they decide to give him another chance. But again, like, I don't think 600 million is enough for a sequel. It's not the 90s where sequels didn't matter. Like sequels should be making more money than the first film.
Because you're supposed to have that built-in audience plus, you know, with the sequel. And if it's just the same business again, it's like,
You generated no hype. That's what it shows. That you didn't gain any of the fan base. You probably actually lost some of the fan base because, you know, people are just not showing up to watch or to support. So.
Yeah, I'm leaning more towards, I think Gunn will be done. Like, and again, this is just, you know, we're just forecasting. Is it more likely Gunn will stay or go? I think it's more likely this is his last DC film, and then Netflix is like, hey, let's streamline this better, you know, and we'll do again our streaming stuff. Let Warner Brothers overall takes care of the, you know, the big Batman films and things like that.
I think
and TV shows on Netflix.
Yeah, I think Gunn will end up just going back to Marvel, which is where he's comfortable, and that's the only place he's really had real success. So I can see him doing that. That seems to be a no-brainer for him. I'm sure Feige will still take him back with open arms. Regarding what you mentioned, though, about the SnyderVerse being the Elseworlds and living solely on Netflix, the thing that makes it interesting for me and that kind of like contradicts that a little bit is DeLuca and Abdi. We know they were big parts in bringing back Henry. They were planning on bringing back Snyder, where at the 11th hour, somehow Gunn got that job. But that was the plan. They were going to bring back Henry, they were going to do a sequel, and they were going to have Zack continue the Justice League films. That obviously didn't happen, but they've clearly showed a desire to continue that universe with their hands and their fingerprints on it. The fans also want to see these movies in the theater. I don't think they want it to solely be on Netflix. Maybe that means short theatrical runs. Zack Snyder's Justice League did win a couple of Academy Awards. I'm sure they're going to want that again just to prop up their platform, of course. So I think I speak for most of the fans when I say we do not want it to just be strictly streaming when it comes to the films and TV shows. TV shows, obviously, who cares? Put it on.
Right.
Give me 8-10 hours of Nightmare. I've been telling you this since you first brought it up a couple weeks ago. I would love that. I would probably watch it back to back, like maybe 3 times.
And that's a lot for you.
It is a lot for me. But yeah, I mean, that's just what I feel. I think DeLuca and Abdi will want to be it one way.
Yeah, with SnyderVerse, because I mean, I think it is important. People really voice what they really want with this. Now that if Netflix closes this deal, we want theatrical. Again, is it a lane somewhere where again Zach could do some DC streaming stuff? I mean, cool. Obviously, I would eat that up. He's already going to do that 300 prequel. He partnered with with Warner Brothers to do that. Now it's looking like that. I'm thinking too, now that I'm on that topic, I think once Zach starts doing that 300 prequel, I think HBO is going to want that.
Oh, absolutely.
Because some of this stuff it's going to be an HBO hub in Netflix when they kind of restructure this. And I think a DC hub as well. And then HBO Max will still be kind of like a separate thing too. Like you can kind of, a la carte it or something. But I think they'll definitely, like 300 just sounds like an HBO, I want some awards and stuff like that, with that type of thing. So I can see Zach, like I said, working as far as series, but as far as theatrical and with Netflix track record, that's what is kind of worrying me about the theatrical side.
Yeah.
But like you said, DeLuca and Abdi are strong advocates for Zack Snyder and SnyderVerse. So if Gunn, and I hate to say it like this because there's gonna be some Gunn fans watching this, but if Gunn and Safran are out the way, then I could definitely see Zack doing theatrical DC easily. But if for some reason within this next year, Gunn and Safran somehow gets an extension again, then hey, you know, all bets are kind of off, and they want the Gunverse. You know what I mean? Which I'll be surprised.
Yeah,
Yes,
I mean,
if that's what it is.
I think people are fine with having some TV shows streaming on Netflix or HBO, whatever it's going to be called at that time. But like the plan right now was for Reeves Batman to exist. I think after the sequel, they have one more and then he's done. And at the same time, you were going to have Gunn introduce Batman into his universe, do with his Batman and Robin or whatever the hell the movie was called. Was when it was slated. I don't see it on the slate anymore. But he keeps teasing this Batman that's supposed to be coming. People keep talking about it. So you're gonna have that Batman and the Reeves Batman there at the same time, which I don't think we've had concurrent Batmans in separate universes before. So we've already had Ben Affleck's Batman before. So what's the big deal of having a third? If the idea with Netflix is to just give everybody what they want. Right. If Man of Tomorrow does well and they decide to continue that universe, they can still have their Batman and Robin. They can still have Reeves Batman, and they can still have Batfleck.
I mean, I think with Netflix, if you know, since they want in on this DC stuff streaming, I think they could easily do a Batfleck movie and throw it on Netflix. I mean, I would want it in theaters, obviously, but I'm just saying they could, I think, easily do a Batfleck film.
Yeah,
and throw it on Netflix.
Yeah, and Ben Affleck is
low budget.
He's not afraid to do straight to streaming films. He's done that in the recent past, and if he comes back to direct and film and star in his Batman movie with Deathstroke, I think everyone would eat that up. We've been every time we someone talks about that movie, they always talk about how great the script was. It was the quintessential Batman movie, all this amazing stuff, and it's basically we were robbed as fans. So yeah, we would all eat it up.
Yeah,
really quickly. It'll probably break some streaming records.
I mean, and that's your DC event right there. Again, just what I'm hearing is Netflix really wants to highlight. I mean, all the IPs, you know, that they're getting, but they really, you know, want a lot of DC events, and that's easy one right there. Batfleck movie. Yeah, it will, like I said, break all kinds of records.
They already have the script. They already have the cast, and I'm pretty sure everyone is already under contract. So just bring, like the same way they were under contract with doing the Justice League films with Zack Snyder that Jay Oliva was talking about online, that they're already all contracted, so they can't make those sequels in any other medium other than film, because those contracts, I'm sure the same thing applies to the Ben Affleck Batman movie. Joe Manganiello has been wanting to return as Deathstroke forever. So
yeah, and that's such a wasted casting if you don't make that movie, man. Like we got to see that fight.
That's
like,
a layup.
Real.
That's a layup for Netflix right there.
Easily. So
they could get it out in like a year and a half. They could fast track it.
Probably even less.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, hey, we could flip this. Like, let's go with a Batfleck movie. So I mean, there's a lot of potential there, and there's still a lot of moving parts. You know, this deal has to close. They have to really define however they restructure DC Studios, because all intents and purposes, it's still going to be a DC Studios. It's just how is it going to run in conjunction with Netflix, because they want DC stuff on Netflix. So we'll see. We'll see how that comes together. Someone's going to lose their job, though. I know that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Someone has to get fired.
We know who's safe though. So
exactly. Now, I guess let's touch on this real quick, because I do want to briefly touch on the Paramount side or lack thereof. But before we get into that, the execs, not here. The execs were touring the Warner Brothers
like the weirdest picture I've seen in a while.
These are the two co-heads of Netflix, Sarandos, and I think Peters is the other guy, with Zaslav.
In the center.
Like a bunch of nerds here, and
this is like such a nerdy, like dorky picture. Both of them.
just all of them are just.
It's so awkward.
Bunch of goofballs.
Yeah.
But the point is, this is that public perception thing. Netflix is trying to just calm everyone down, because everyone went crazy about the potential of theaters going out of business, basically, because of Netflix.
The end of cinema as we know it.
And it's because of their own comments. Sarandos was making wild comments about theaters
for a long time.
Yes.
It's recent.
So you can't blame people getting kind of nervous that, now you own Warner Brothers.
Right.
You're going to do this crazy stuff. But again, they feel they have a strong argument for the regulatory process. We'll see if that plays out. and they put out new statements saying, hey, no, we're going to keep the theater windows. They're trying to say all the right things right now. Again, things are going to change though. But them visiting Warner Brothers lot, again, this is just for the public perception.
This is a PR stunt right here, just to make everybody think that they're all buddy, everyone's together, the status quo will remain intact.
Right. But in this business and mergers and things, everything isn't a clean, merge, and there's gonna be some heads rolling in 2027.
And I will say, because they keep going back, like they've said this multiple times, that they're not gonna interfere with what's happening at Warner Brothers. Is gonna remain operating as is. But with any acquisition, like I said, they're not just gonna not touch it. And the first year or so, because things are in the pipeline already. You can't come in and start making major changes when there's like big budgets going on and things are still being filmed and being produced. But they will use that first year to learn about the business better, because like they said, they admitted they don't know the film industry, they know the streaming industry, so they're going to use this as an opportunity to learn the film industry. Best believe they will have some of their best executives over at the Warner Brothers lots and in their offices, sitting in those meetings and seeing what's going on, who are the players, what the plans are for the future. And once they get a handle on things, which won't take that long, because these are people that throughout their careers, they'll completely take over Warner Brothers. It's just time. For me as a fan, my concern is the actual brand. I want to see the Warner Brothers shield. I want to see the water tower for the rest of my life. I don't want it to disappear and everything just becomes Netflix. I still want to see HBO. Right, I still want to see New Line Cinema. These are like historic brands, and we don't want them to disappear because everything is kind of being monopolized under this Netflix umbrella.
No, definitely, I agree with that. And but like you said, in this corporate world, Sarandos and the other guy, they probably already have in mind, like, okay, I have a guy that can replace this person, like, after, like I said, after 2027 kind of goes through, it'll probably seem like a smooth merge. And then they'll be like, okay, we definitely don't
major
need
layoffs by like 20 by 2030, Warner Brothers is going to look completely different. They're not going to be paying two different executives to do basically the job of one person.
Exactly.
This happens with every merger and acquisition. People always end up losing their jobs.
Like they call it synergies, right? And that's a nice way of saying, like, okay, we got duplicate positions, and they're Netflix is gonna keep their guys, or they may have people like under, junior execs over on Netflix and be like, oh, we want to give you a promotion. You run this branch of Warner Brothers now.
And there might be people at Warner Brothers that Netflix finds very promising as well, that they want to keep on board.
Like DeLuca Abdi, I think they're probably the safest people in the building.
They are, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, you got to ride that hot hand, what they've been doing. And so this just means, though, whoever they don't feel is performing well, that's why I think Man of Tomorrow is this is James Gunn's likely his last DC film, because if that doesn't do more than James Gunn the Superman, it's really no reason to keep that thing going. It's like
not at all.
This is we got to level up here. So that's just the reality. I know a lot of people. There's some people that pull for James Gunn and what he's doing. He's going to get his couple films, and that may be it.
That may be it. I mean, Netflix, like we already touched on this. Like they're not going to throw good money against bad money. Their main priority are these IPs, and they want to see these IPs flourish. They don't want to see them making okay money. No, they want to make them make billions for them every year, whether it's through animation, TV, film, toys, merchandise, whatever. That's what they're looking at. They're not looking to make subpar films that maybe just break even, not including marketing costs. That's not gonna do it.
Yeah, that's again just the reality. So we'll see. We still got a times away for this first to close, and then again to see how they restructure DC. That's going to be pretty exciting, actually, to see how they do that.
Yeah.
I was saying before we started, I was favoring the Paramount deal. I thought Paramount was better for the theatrical experience long term. And obviously the different investors, and we'll kind of break that down going forward further. But the Arab sovereign nations, I thought was a curveball because the deal leaked, right?
Right.
3 weeks ago. And I was like, oh, like you got the Saudis, you got Qatar, Abu Dhabi. It was putting together over $20 billion in a $108 billion deal.
Mm-hmm.
And then things started coming out as far as, okay, does Paramount really have the money? You know, we'll see. What with you, it's clear you were pulling for Netflix, you know, the entire time here. What? Obviously, SnyderVerse, I'm sure it's a big part of it, but what was convincing you, like, okay, Netflix could pull this off? Because this shocked everyone, I think, except you know the Netflix moving online, and you're included in that, and everyone that's been spearheading that. What was convincing you that Netflix could really pull this off?
All right, so from a financial standpoint, and I said this in my video, Netflix has wrath of God money, bro. Wrath of God money. They could, if there was no such thing as regulatory shit for movie studios, they could probably buy all of them and clear all of their debt. Every single one of them. They can buy Paramount. They can buy Comcast. They can buy every single one of them. It'd be like
Disney. You saw that report?
There you go. They were looking at Disney. If they could get away with it, they would have done it. They have that much money. So Netflix makes a combined close to like $4 billion a month, bro. They can drop a bill on WBD's debt and be like, done. Debt's paid, y'all in the clear, stocks starting to go up. This is a return to form for WB. You have no more debt now. You can make money. You can do all of this stuff, and Netflix has a piece of that pie. Paramount, on any given day, is worth about $14 to $18 billion market cap.
And it fluctuates.
So it fluctuates. They're already in debt. What they would have been doing is taking on more debt. 4 years later, 5 years later, WBD's up for sale again. They would have done exactly what Time Warner and AOL did. They would have done exactly what AT&T did, and they would have done exactly what Discovery did. Build and compound more debt, and then once they find out they ain't making no money, we will be right back in the same spot asking for what we didn't get again.
Now that's fair. That's fair as far as with the Paramount side, because now it's coming out their finances again wasn't what they were projecting to Zaslav and Warner Brothers. And Zaslav saw right through this a month ago. That's why he started ghosting them. He's like, no, this ain't adding up.
Exactly. Think about it. You want a company, but you don't want to put your own money into it. You want to borrow money from somebody else? That's playing with Confederate money, homie. That's monopoly money. I don't know. Listen, I'm selling you my company, but I'm still invested in this company. My shares are still in this company. I want to know who the hell you doing business with, partner. I need to know where you getting these loans from.
Right. And are they going to cut that check when it needs to be cut? Because I could take your word for it. But then it's like, oh, I'm still waiting to hear back from Abu Dhabi. Nah, where's the check?
Where's the check? And that's what a lot of people, and that's why I said in one of my videos, see, I'm a vet. So anybody that worked in government or been in the military know exactly what I'm talking about, dude. Look, I wouldn't mind if it was Paramount if the Ellisons didn't have it. If they weren't close to this administration, because it gets political, and I'm sorry, anybody that's going to watch this, let me tell you right now, it is political. Let's not pretend like it's not.
Right. No.
They are too close to that administration and the Jared Kushner and the rest of them, and they playing with it's like me wanting to buy your restaurant, Sil, but I got the mob backing me up for money. Think of it like that, bro.
Where's that money coming
from? The mob is going to want something. They ain't just going to want a piece of my restaurant. They going to want some other shit.
And it looked like Netflix obviously was a cleaner deal. That's what Zaslav was looking at, and it's more of a merge. As you see both symbols right there. Right. It's going to continue because some people was like, "Oh, Warner Bros is going to be erased by 2030 if Netflix get it." No, that's money. That WB brand.
That's exactly what I said. I said y'all are worth. Look. When Ted Sarandos head of Netflix, when he said that the theater experience is going to be dead or it's going to die, think about when and why he said that. Times change. CEOs change their minds all the time, but depending on the prevailing winds. That's it. I could be a CEO saying theaters are dead, but then when I look at the work that Abdi and DeLuca has been doing, I'm like, wait a minute. Hold up.
Let them come.
Hold on a second. Right? I'm like, hang on. Let's just take a beat for a second. They doing pretty good. Now, last year I said that the theater experience is dead, but now Warner Brothers is popping off. So do I really want to scrap this shit, or do I want to keep making money off of them?
And he came back. Sorrento's, now again, I know it's PR, so because I know a lot of people will be like, well, he has to say this, but I give a man credit if he says, you know what, we need to look at this theatrical window a little more now.
You need to look at it. And I got a theory about that I want to explain to you too. I got a theory about that. Yeah. So for all of the people that think they go kill the theatrical experience, here's why I believe in Ted Sarandos and why I believe it ain't going to happen. Two things. This is what I think they're going to do. They're going to look at opening weekend, and they're going to look at the 2-week drop off, and they're going to do an evaluation of those films. Now, set James Cameron and Spielberg and all of them heavy hitters, set them aside. They're not included in this. They're going to automatically give them the wide berth that they need to make their money. They're going to do that regardless. But when it comes to other films, low budget films, mid films, art house films, things like that, okay, here's what we're going to do for the theatrical window. We're going to do an evaluation. If the weekend box office looks good, and that 2-week tracking for percentage is low enough to where we can say, oh yeah, keep pushing. They're going to keep pushing. If they look at the box office and say, oh shit, and then that 2-week drop off is more than whatever they're going to be like, all right, leave it in there one more week and pull it, or pull it now. Or that's what I think they're going to do. They're going to do it by a case by case basis.
And I think Netflix, I mean, it's already come out. They looked at all the books with Warner Bros. They looked at all their numbers from box office as well, but also Netflix is learning theatrical on the way. So it's going to be a little period before I think something drastic even happens. But they can look at this year with Warner Brothers, and 2 films should be their main 2 studying points. Ryan Coogler's Sinners.
Goddamn right.
Where it actually held, I think, 100% the second weekend.
Bro, come on, man. That's what I'm talking about.
You keep that in theaters for 2 months, okay? You keep
it exactly
at least for 2 months, and that's what they did. And then they're putting it back in IMAX seasonal now. They like, oh, we could keep spending this. So films like that, to your example, you let that film hold in theaters.
You let it ride.
You got that return business, and then after 45 days or to 60 days. Now you can watch it on Netflix. There you go. Right? Perfect business model right there. Now you got, we was talking about James Gunn's Superman, where it was front loaded first weekend. After 2 or 3 weeks, you kind of saw it was going down. After a month, they pulled it. Warner Brothers pulled it and said, hey, put it on HBO, or was it on digital first? No, I think it was HBO Max. But they was like, we want you to watch this before Peacemaker season 2 comes out. So again, if Superman was holding nothing's going to hold like Sinners ever. So first off, that's not fair.
Let's just get that clear.
To any film, okay? But if Superman was holding like that, then you let it ride. You let it ride out. And you have this forecast before the film even comes out. That's why I said 6 months before Superman came out, I said their number's 500 to 600 million. They knew that's all they were going to get from this film. Let's pull it, Peacemaker. So Netflix, I think it's going to be really smart with this and look at these trends. It's a lot of scare tactics out there. People are saying, "Oh, the end of theaters." Like you thought, it was like a national memorial.
I know, right? Everybody was like, "Oh God, the theater experience is over." I'm like, no, it's not. As long as the theater experience has a heartbeat, which it does. Okay, it's kind of a weak heartbeat, but they still got one nonetheless. They're going to keep doing and they're going. I think Netflix is going to maximize that. Abdi and DeLuca are over there doing a fantastic job. Why would this man just say, "All right, we done with the theatrical experience"? That would be stupid. They would be losing revenue if they did that, bro.
Exactly.
Not only that, they'll have a distribution arm. For physical media. They can put shit on Max. People who don't have Max subscriptions can watch it on Netflix, and they still get the bank for that. They still get the bag for that.
It took me like 20 because with Netflix, it seemed like an 11th hour deal. They came in,
They swooped in just like, hold up.
They was like, oh, we gotta.
Here's the thing though, Sil. I don't think it was. I don't think it was the 11th hour. I think that this was a plan, bro.
Oh, you think they plan to announce it like that?
I think they planned this months in advance, if not a year in advance. I think that this was a plan.
I think
because why would they suddenly just come out and do that? They've been doing their work. I think honestly, Scott Stuber got in that head. When Scott Stuber was there and he said we need more DC and all that. You think that didn't swarm around in their head, man? Like, we're gonna put a pin in that.
If Warner Bros was for sale then, I think Stuber would have pushed hard for it right then. It just Warner Bros. They had to wait that waiting period, before they could sell. And you raise. I mean, all these execs talk, right? I mean, that's how Discovery bought Warner Brothers. They was talking about that for months, and then they swooped in and bought it from AT&T. It was a shock to us, but
exactly.
They began talking, to get that done. So with this.
Yeah, and we gotta, as consumers, we gotta get out of that frame of mind for a second of the consumer spending our money. Think about how they're thinking for a second. Think about what they're doing. Everything is projected. They're not thinking about now. They're thinking about the future. They're thinking about way ahead. So every little pin that they have, I'm gonna save that for later. I'm gonna save this for later. They've been doing that. Even if they haven't mentioned anything about buying it, trust me, it was always on their mind. That's why they just came in and did it.
Well, and now that's why you have those reports again. Netflix was like, hey, we was looking at Disney, we was looking at all these other people. They thought of MGM back in the day. Yep. And now it's like, I think Netflix, like you said, after Stuber was pushing for bigger films, they in their business model, they're like, okay, we don't have a distributor, so we can't really hit theaters like this. Let's like they say how'd you say the house? I bought the bank. Netflix is like
I bought. Yeah, I mean, he said, how did you get the house back? How did you get the house back from the bank? I bought the bank.
Now you got a distributor, right? Now you got the biggest distributor in the world. Actually, internationally, Warner Bros. Is the biggest distributor. So
Netflix would be a fool to scrap that.
Your footprint is insane with that. So when they swoop in and people was like, oh, in the theaters, Sarandos came out and was like, well, yeah, when we didn't own a distributor, of course we're not going to be a big theatrical company. That's changed now. That
has changed now. Exactly. So the more information you have to work with, it is soon going to change your mind about something. We all do it. We are all staunch and say, nope, this is never going to happen. And then something changes and you're like, hold up. Let me revisit this right quick. So that's what happened.
With them coming in and, again, people was like, oh, in the theaters. I gave everyone like 24 hours. It had to sink in with me too. I'm like, okay, let's just see what's here. Let's,
I never believed it. I never believed it.
And then you have Paramount trying to do this hostile bid. I saw a lot of people, there's a lot of people that I network with, journalists, and they were all bemoaning about Netflix. But then when Paramount tried to do the hostile bid, it was like, man, Paramount, get out of here, man. Like, we're going to stick with Netflix, okay? Like, go on, Paramount. Go on with that. Because, again, when you look at the business side of it, this is a great pairing, the greatest streamer in the world with the greatest film distribution in the world. You put that together, and that's what it's two entities. Is what they got going on.
Exactly. In short, man, when it comes to Paramount, I took my what I want hat off, and I want this, and I want that. I want the theatrical experience. I took that hat off, and I put my other hat on. I put my business hat on. I put my government military hat on, and I said, wait a minute. Let's look at this from a standpoint of entertainment. They're talking about giving you 30 films a year with the assistance of AI. And y'all worried about Netflix laying people off? Come on, bruh. Well, they even said they're going to be laying off tens of thousands of jobs, bro.
Yeah, that term synergies means people are getting fired.
People getting fired.
That's what they were saying.
Wake up, man. Exactly. That's what that means, that people are getting fired. We're going to utilize AI, which means artists, other directors, other writers. They're going to be using AI-assisted shit to crank these films out. You don't use your own money, which tells us you're not serious about actually buying a company, which means you have a hidden agenda and it is political. Period, bro.
And that's an angle in this. I mean, obviously, we're going to focus on the entertainment side, but that is undertones of politics in this as well. The whole CNN angle, how they want to repackage how they cover the Trump administration.
Oh, and for anybody watching this, let me go ahead and tell you right quick before we move on to this next part. CNN is one of the biggest media conglomerates in the world. It touches all four corners of the planet. They want that before the midterms. That was the point. The point is that's why Ellison's were pushing so hard and being bullied, using the bully tactics and writing the letters to the board and saying, oh, he promised us this, he promised us that. No, they want CNN because if they got CNN, they can give it to your boy up there. Your boy can spin anything he want to before the midterms, and Bob's your uncle.
But do you see how politics works too? People flip real quick. You see when the Paramount deal start falling apart, all of a sudden Trump's like, they ain't really my boy. We ain't really that. I'm like, this is a cold game. Like
that exactly. That is the type of shit right there that I don't want my entertainment a part of. Point blank, bro. Yeah. If they did, like I said, if they didn't have Paramount, I'd be amenable to it. I'd be amenable to whoever, Apple, Paramount, MGM out over at Amazon, anybody. Yeah. I'm with all of them. But if it's coming down to Paramount and Netflix,
it's clear now. Now, if I would say things would be different if this is only an if Paramount really was fronting, because again, you got David Ellison, who's head of Oracle, or his dad is Larry Ellison.
Larry Ellison
in the world, right? So David's a nepo baby. He's trying to flex with his dad's money, and he's like, "Hey, I don't blame you. You born in that situation. It's all good. You got to step up, though. Like, you got to step your game up, son." But if Paramount was backing this deal more without the needing up to $30 billion from other people, maybe this deal could have went over a little smoother, right? And that just would have been a reality. We still would have to deal with the politics of it and stuff like that. And this probably would have been a more solid deal. That's all Zaza was saying. Number two,
and then using tactics like, if y'all go with Paramount, now this is David. These are the Ellisons, and this is their mind. If you go with us, them regulatory is gonna get through real quick, y'all.
Yeah,
Don't worry about it. We're gonna take care
Trump's
of it.
A phone call away from us. We golf together.
Mob boss tactics, and that's the reason why I'm like, fuck that shit.
It was scare tactics. It was working for the public because even I thought, oh, Paramount's gonna get this because they already got this sold up. They already untalked to Trump. But then it comes out Sarandos was meeting with Trump a couple months ago.
Way before Paramount even showed up. Exactly. He was already talking. Yep.
And he was explaining to Trump then and others on the WBD board was, how will this pass the regulatory process? The argument that Netflix gave, because I didn't find this out till after they agreed to the deal, because I was like, how is this going to pass? I'm believing what Paramount's saying. Paramount's pumping that propaganda to all of us, right? And then it comes out, Sarandos was like, hey, y'all think Netflix, okay, obviously we're the number one streamer in the world. HBO Max is number 3. Like we know Netflix over 300 million subscribers worldwide. HBO Max has less than half of that, like 120. Disney's under 200. Amazon is in its own bucket, but they got about 200. But the whole point with people is like, you put number 1 with number 3, that's a monopoly. Sarandos was like, once I read this, I was like, this is interesting. He's like, we're all just internet entertainment providers or internet providers. Basically, we're providing entertainment over the internet, just like YouTube,
right?
Like TikTok. And he said, and Sarandos was like, they got more views than us, YouTube. And I was like, interesting. Then it comes out YouTube is going to get the Oscars. And Netflix like, that's what we're competing against. When the NFL season started, what was the first game? It was on YouTube, the Chiefs versus the Chargers. Netflix has the Christmas games. Sarandos is like, we're in the same business, us and YouTube has more. If you want to talk about a monopoly, go after Google. Okay?
There you go.
You can't stop us. I mean, you shouldn't stop us if you're allowing this to happen. And so I was like,
my guy, let's take a look at Disney right quick. You talk about over-regulated and got all the shit. Come on, bro. Nobody said anything when they scooped up Marvel Studios. They didn't say anything when they scooped up
Lucasfilm.
Star Wars, Lucasfilm. They didn't. Nobody said shit. That's a monopoly right there.
That's a monopoly. That literally is a monopoly.
That is literally a monopoly, but not not one single word did anybody say, well, you know, Disney is doing the same thing. Guys, Disney is doing the same exact shit.
And they actually more. Disney more. And when they should have stopped them from buying Fox. If people are going to take these regulatory things seriously, you should have stopped the Fox deal if you were going to do that, because of the extensive library they got with that. That's a monopoly. And again, Sarandos is just saying, hey, all these people got more views. And I know people looking at it just a premium streamer. He's like, no, we're just entertainment, internet entertainment. That's all of us are.
That's all we are.
I was like, dang. I was like,
and then I did a comparison. I said, look at all of the people who have owned WB. AOL is not a movie studio. AT&T is not a movie studio. Discovery is not a movie studio. They're not movie studios. These are all internet media conglomerates, every single one of them. Why isn't anybody pissing their pants when AT&T had them? AT&T is not a movie studio.
All right. And
you know what I'm saying?
They actually ended up being though they did push out the Snyder cut. So much respect to AT&T, but they didn't know what they were doing with Warner Brothers. That's why they flipped it so fast. It's like, someone please buy this. You know,
which is why I believe in Ted Sarandos and why he's going to do good with WB, because he is looking to their expertise. He is saying, now that we own this company, I want y'all to tell me how to maximize it. What are we gonna do to make this better? You guys are doing great already. We want to know how, when it comes to Netflix, how we gonna do this. That's it. He's asking them how this is gonna work. He's not telling everybody this is what he's gonna do. He's like, show us how this is gonna go. Because y'all already there, you're already the experts. Show us how to make this work.
And that's smart business. That's how, you know, that's why this ends up being a perfect partnership. Like, once, you know, the shock wore off for me, I was like, okay, this is actually a nice merge. And Sarandos and the crew, they're going to learn from the Warner Bros. Execs that's there now. And I do believe that it'll be a time where they'll be like, okay, we got a guy that probably could do this a little better now. We probably, you know, I'll give him a year or two, you know, and Zaz will go off in the sunset. You know, and if DeLuca and Abby is still cooking, they're gonna stay right there and do their thing. So it seems to be more of a perfect marriage, you know, than I anticipated. Let me briefly, before we get to this picture situation, let me go down, because we were kind of talking about, again, keeping that team together and what does that mean. I see people running with a lot of narratives when if this is coming across for you, where it's talking about we plan to continue operating Netflix and Warner Bros. Independently, so the teams that currently run them, you know, pretty much is going to continue. Meaning, again, what you just said, Netflix is like, okay, DeLuca, Abby, you know what you're doing. You just keep doing that. We're going to, you know, do our thing on the streaming side. You know, now they're going to sign their checks still, but they're just like, you're doing a good job. Continue. It's already been publicized. DeLuca, Abby got a multi-year extension. Their contract was going to run out in 2026. They said it's a multi-year, so they're at least there to 2028 and beyond, probably with DeLuca and Abby. So they seem to be the safest people in this deal. Overall. Now you're talking about with DeLuca, Abby as Warner Bros. Pictures. They run New Line Cinema, Warner Bros. Animation. Then you got DC Studios. DC Studios, Gunn and Safran. Their original deal ran to the end of 2026, and they got an extension, right? For 6 months. So I understand the PR of this announcement, you know, what Sarandos and them are saying, and I think, was it Peters, who's the other, Greg Peters or something like that? They're like, okay, status quo. Yeah, y'all the exports. DeLuca, Abby got the contract. Zazov's going to stay as long as he needs to. Gunn and Safran, something has to change with DC Studios in 2027. Is the point I'm trying to get to here. Is that this isn't saying Gunn and Safran is just safe, right? That's the only way to take this, right?
They're not safe.
Like it's all hinging. And
exactly with Abdi and DeLuca, it was a sure thing. He was like, "Y'all stand, you ain't got to worry about it. Here's your multi-contract, good to go." With Safran and Gunn, it's like, we're gonna extend you, but we're not gonna extend you that much. Let's just see how the rest of this universe plays out. And I believe that if by some miracle that his films, that Man of Steel is super successful, he's gonna be fine. He's gonna be fine. And that's what I believe. Yeah. So creating and protecting jobs versus Paramount's laying people off. Everybody needs to look at this. Netflix and Warner Brothers have complementary business, which is why we plan to continue operating them independently. Why we plan to operate them independently. Let's just say I am a real estate. I'm in a real estate. I like buying buildings. I like buying up shit. If this building that I'm about to buy has tenants in it, and those tenants pay rent $2,000 a month, and I have like 300 tenants in this building, if it's doing well and it's making me money, I'm not going to tear that building down and kick all those people out. I'm going to keep that going because it's still making me money. Why would I tear it up?
So with that scenario, because a lot of people, let's just be clear, there's fans of James Gunn out there, right? And so they're like, they should keep him. Superman, is the greatest domestic film ever. Like he has to stay, right? With your example of, hey, if it's making money, they would stay. We also have to understand the vice versa of that. If they're not really hitting with Man of Tomorrow, because I'm just gonna say it right now, Supergirl, my report I put out there, they already are thinking this is gonna be under 500 million for Supergirl. So we'll just keep our eyes on as far as what that actually does.
I said 400 million.
That's Black Adam territory, which
was it 393? Was it Black Adam, right? Something like that?
Yeah, Black Adam. If Supergirl does less than 400 or around 400, if it has a critical and audience success according to their metrics, they'll be like, hey, we didn't spend that much on it. That's what they're going to tell y'all. Yep. We didn't even spend that much money on it, y'all. It was probably 100 million. And I'm not, there's going to be people in the chat. I'm not going to argue about Superman's budget no more, right? I know,
right? So y'all can just stop all that. We done with Superman's budget. That's it.
We're talking about Supergirl, and that's going to be the spin. Just like they were giving me the spin last year about James Gunn Superman. This is the next spin. They're going to be like, the number may be 375. That'd be our break-in number. And we only spent 120. It's not going to have the marketing. You saw the marketing they put in with Superman with Dairy Queen, Milk Bones. And
Milk Bone, overseas with the statues and shit, all that. Yeah.
Supergirl ain't going to get that.
No.
You see what I'm saying? So it's going to be less return. They already are preparing that. So just, when that comes out, y'all see like, okay, they're going to spin this. So it's all on Man of Tomorrow. You're not making a lot of money with Supergirl. So Man of Tomorrow, if that underperforms, Netflix is going to see that coming into the building. Like, okay, we got to jazz this up some, man. We got to spice this up. And why do we need Safran over here? You know what I'm saying?
Look, Dan Lin going to be over there like, cut that off, bro.
and he may very well be the DC point person for Netflix.
Point man. Yep.
Because he was going to be a part of the George Miller, the potential Justice League Mortal film back in the day that got canceled.
Now we're talking just DC stuff produced by Netflix. Not Abdi and DeLuca. Exactly.
That's going to be it, because that statement right here, they're saying again, y'all are the experts. I don't need to replace DeLuca and Abdi. They had, again, a record year for Warner Brothers films. So y'all stay there, and y'all might as well handle DC theatrical. Why do we need
this studio? Why do we need this? Why do we need this studio? Kill that studio, absorb it right back on into Warner Brothers films, and let that be that.
So this is my theory, right? Because again, there's still a lot of moving parts. We still got to get this closed. So 2027, again, the information I'm seeing now is before Netflix comes into the equation. A lot can change in a year, as we learn with that. So what I think is going to happen is I don't anticipate, again, Man of Tomorrow doing gangbusters. So DC Studios will be restructured. I think they still want to use that brand.
Mhm.
I think they still want to keep
Oh,
that as like
DC
a
Studios.
label.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
So because you're going to see this on Netflix, they're going to have like a DC hub likely on Netflix, just like HBO. They're going to integrate all that. So when you see a DC show on Netflix, you'll have that the DC Studios brand come up, and and you do your thing. So what the theatrical side, that's where synergies comes in right here. Why do we have separate execs for the theatrical side of DC? Dan Lin will be fine on streaming, and to be honest, he could do theatrical too.
He could.
I'm just saying. I'm not trying to scare the gun fans when I say this, but everyone can't. We don't need everyone right here under DC Studios because they want to produce tons of stuff. Again, live action films on Netflix, live action films, series, animation. I was told they want to do DC events every year on Netflix,
bro.
So as DC fans, once I slept on this, and I was like, and I was hearing this, I was like, oh, Netflix for DC, Netflix is going to be amazing for DC.
You have a friend in me. Soon as we found that out, I was like, cool.
So the theatrical side is the question mark, and just really, we just have to wait and just see what Man of Tomorrow does. It literally, that's what's going to determine Netflix hand. They're going to come in and be like, Gunn, if Gunn does great, again, I'm saying right now they're expecting similar to Superman 2025. If it does better than that, then Gunn may buy himself a couple years. That's what I think. But
exactly. Now, what do you think Man of Tomorrow is actually going to do? So they did 615 for Superman. What do you think? What is in your heart? What do you think Man of Tomorrow is going to do?
Well, first I'll say what
counting the goofy Brainiac.
what I'm hearing is they're expecting similar business, and I think they're being cautious. I think because this is the same group that told me the expectations of James Gunn's Superman. They were very cautious the whole time. So with Man of Tomorrow, they're expecting repeat business.
Okay.
Now the same people telling me Supergirl less than 500 million. There's not a lot, but again, the spin is we're not going to spend that much on Supergirl. We ain't even spend that much money right there, so it's okay. We're on the books. They're going to. I think people realize right now, it's creative accounting with all this stuff. They could put down whatever they want. I understand there's truthers out there and they want to expose stuff, and I get it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we live in the age of spin, and this information gets around the world at the speed of light. And I'm telling you right now, that's exactly what's going on.
So that's why they put in the books, oh, we made a profit of like 150 million from Superman. I'm not even gonna argue about this no more. Just if that's what they put down, that's what they put down, y'all. I'm sorry. Okay. So with Supergirl, they're gonna use the same tactic. We didn't spend that much. So that's one thing. So with Man of Tomorrow, they're gonna have a similar budget. That's gonna come out. That we only spent 225 million, Somehow the cast is bigger. We just spent the same amount of money. Okay. But if it does similar numbers, it'll be the same spin. And I think that'll be James Gunn's last film, DC film. If it this is my thing. People that's arguing that this can do 800, this can do. Where you had a great domestic run, and it's gonna be hard enough to duplicate that, what you did domestically. And then the international markets, China rejected you. Japan, France, Germany. You had a lot of areas where, UK may give you a little bit more money, but where do I don't know where people are thinking they're gonna get more money with this, running the same film back. With adding Brainiac that no one seems to really care about right now. So that's why my scenario is that I would say 700 tops. That's a long way of answering that.
700 tops. That's if he runs the same. Now, do we know if crypto is going to be in this movie in this Man of Tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm expecting crypto back in this because it's supposed to be everyone. The Supergirl will be back. Crypto. Justice Gang, and this is the thing. He may even throw a couple lanterns in there, but it's like, where's the butt? Like, this ain't like showing me Doomsday in a BVS trailer. That was hype. I was like, oh, they do Doomsday. Now they shouldn't have leaked that, but I was
still,
like, oh, Doomsday is in this. This film about to be crazy.
Yeah.
Man of Tomorrow. We'll see Justice Gang again. And I like Mr. Terrific. I mean, he did his thing. He should have a show before Jimmy Olsen, but that's a whole nother story.
Exactly. I'm like, you give Jimmy Olsen a story because he's a ladies' man. Gun again, bro. Them therapy notes showing. Bro. You want to be a man's man. I'm not dumb. I know what I'm looking at. Yeah.
Self-insertion right there.
Self-insertion, bro. That is why Leslie Headland failed, bro. There was nothing but her therapy notes.